This is not a mistake. This is not a coincidence. This video appeared in your life because something within you shifted. And the shift is what creates the flow. There was a time you tried to force things to happen. You chased, begged, hoped, and waited. But today is different. Today your spirit is calm. Your mind is still. And that stillness is the gateway to your overflow. Overflow is not something you achieve, it's something you allow. It's the natural result of assuming that you already are what you desire to be. When you live from that state, not toward it, you become magnetic, you become inevitable, and the law moves in your favor. The world around you is not reacting to your words or actions. It is responding to your assumption, your inner feeling of having. And right now, your assumption is louder than ever. That is why this message has entered your awareness. It's not here to convince you, it's here to confirm you. Look at the evidence. You feel peaceful, you feel calm. You no longer ask, where is it? Instead, something inside you says it is done. That's the sign of arrival. That's the tone of overflow. This isn't magic, it's law. When your inner world becomes full, the outer world must reflect that fullness. Not by chance, not by luck, but by law. You once thought overflow was a future event, but now you realize it's a present identity. You are the embodiment of supply. The moment you stopped needing it, it started flooding in. You let go. You surrendered the struggle, and by doing so, you unlocked the flow. Don't rush to look for proof. You are the proof. The change in your mood, your mindset, your awareness, that's the first harvest. The rest will follow. Your relationships will reflect the new standard. Your finances will obey the new blueprint. Your health, your peace, your influence, everything will rise to match the new you. Why? Because you're no longer trying to become, you are being. You've remembered your true power to assume and persist. You've accepted the truth. You already are what you seek. And that inner knowing has triggered a divine sequence. Doors are opening that were once closed. Delays are turning into divine timing. Scarcity is melting into abundance. You no longer ask if, you rest in when. You no longer fear the unknown, you welcome it with certainty. This is what overflow looks like: quiet confidence, calm expectation, and a deep knowing that all things are working in your favor. And so I say to you, congratulations, you have crossed the line. The season of just enough is over. The era of overflow has begun. Let this video be the sign you needed. Not because you're waiting, but because you've already received, and now the world must catch up. Keep your focus inward, remain in the state of the wish fulfilled, and trust that everything necessary for your overflow is already on its way to you now. You are not here by chance. You were led here because your overflow has already begun. Life doesn't happen to you, it flows from you. This single truth, when fully understood, transforms your entire world. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not waiting for the stars to align. The stars are already responding to the alignment within you. Everything begins in consciousness. Every condition in your life is a reflection of an inner assumption, something you once felt, believed, accepted, and persisted in. You are not the result of your environment. Your environment is the result of you. This is where your power lives, in your awareness, in your inner speech, in your imagination. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a projection, an echo. It follows, it obeys, it mirrors, but it never leads. You've been taught to believe that action is cause, that effort, hustle, struggle, and performance bring results. But truth is deeper. True cause is unseen. True cause is silent. It begins in the feeling of being. When you embody the state of overflow within, your world must rearrange itself to reflect it. The moment you shift your inner state, everything around you begins to shift. Quietly, subtly, and then suddenly, what once looked like resistance becomes alignment. What felt like delay becomes divine preparation. What seemed like lack reveals itself as a call inward, back to your power. You are the seed and the soil. The world is simply the harvest of your inner condition. You do not wait for overflow, you become it. You do not strive for abundance, you assume the state of one who has it already. And from that assumption, all things are added. There is no power outside of you that overrides the truth within you. The law is always working. It is neutral. It does not choose favorites. It simply reflects. Your dominant state of being determines your experience, not your wishes or words alone. If your inner conversation is saturated with lack, fear, or waiting, the world cannot help but reflect that back to you. But the moment you revise that inner script, when you begin to speak, think, and feel from the end, the world bends to match your new tone. You are the dreamer and the dream. You are the painter and the canvas. And the moment you awaken to that truth, you stop reacting and start creating. So stop looking outward for evidence. Stop checking your current circumstances for validation. You are not the effect of what is. You are the cause of what will be. The conditions you're living in today are simply the result of past assumptions that were once active in your consciousness. They are old echoes. Do not let them define you. Choose today to return to your center, reclaim your power, begin to feel, see, and speak as if your overflow is already here. Walk like it, think like it, rest in it. Your feeling is the prayer, your assumption is the key. And the beauty of this truth is this: the moment you shift, everything must follow. That's why you're here. That's why this message found you. Because something inside you is waking up. Something within you knows the truth now. You are the one who sets it all in motion. The life you dream of is not waiting in the distance. It's waiting in you. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign. You are the sign. The inner shift is the miracle. You don't need to change the world. You only need to change your concept of yourself. From one who wants to one who has. From one who hopes to one who knows. So today, let it be done. Let this be the day you remember who you are. You are the source. You are the cause. And overflow begins the moment you decide it's already yours. Now go within. Dwell there. Live from the state of having, because life is not happening to you, it is flowing from you, and from this moment forward, you flow in overflow. The very fact that you are here, drawn to this exact message at this precise moment, is no accident. It is not a coincidence, not a random click, not a mere curiosity. It is confirmation. It is evidence that something deep within you has already shifted. Something in your inner world has aligned with the truth of abundance. And this video is simply reflecting that inner movement. There are no accidents in a universe governed by law. Everything unfolds according to the state of consciousness you dwell in. So if this message found you, it's because your consciousness sent for it. You are not just watching this, you called it into your experience. That quiet desire for more, that deep sense of possibility, that subtle knowing that something is about to change, all of that is the assumption at work. An assumption, when truly felt and persisted in, is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. You may not have realized it fully, but you've already crossed a line. You're no longer trying to make abundance happen. You've begun to live in the awareness that it is already yours. And that inner acceptance, more than words, more than action, is the key that opens the door. The door to overflow never opens from the outside. It's always open from within. You assume something real. You believed it to the point of feeling it. And now the law must respond. What you assume to be true of yourself becomes your world. The universe does not argue. It does not delay without purpose. It simply echoes what you've accepted as your reality. And if this video resonates, it's because you've already planted the seed of abundance and the first fruit is now showing up in the form of this message. You are not waiting for the breakthrough is already in motion. The assumption did the work. The moment you decided, it is mine, things began to shift in the unseen. Paths were made clear, people were positioned. Circumstances began moving silently in your favor. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to beg, plead, or hope. Your only job is to maintain the assumption. Dwell in the state, return to the feeling. Continue to know what you now know, that the door is already open. Your senses may try to deny it. The world may not yet show you the full manifestation, but that's irrelevant. The outer is always late. It is the shadow of your assumption, not the source. Your inner state is the cause, and cause has already been activated. You felt rich before the money. You felt love before the relationship. You felt peace before the circumstances changed. That's the secret. You assumed it first, and now the world must respond in kind. The truth is, this message is more than a reminder, it's a mirror. It's showing you what you already know deep down. You're ready. You've moved into the state of overflow. You've stopped striving and started knowing. And when you know something with feeling, the universe reorganizes itself to deliver. This is not the beginning of your journey, it's the confirmation that the journey is already unfolding exactly as it should. You may not have the full picture yet, but the door is open. Walk through it in faith. Live as if the prayer has already been answered. Let your words match your assumption. Let your actions flow from the state of completion, not the need for it. You are not here by mistake. You are here because your inner world has aligned with a higher truth. And that truth is now shaping your experience. So relax, rejoice, and remember, you've already opened the door. Now walk through it as one who knows. Overflow is not coming. It has begun. Prosperity does not begin in your wallet. It begins in your awareness. It does not begin with a number in your bank account. It begins with a feeling in your heart, a belief in your mind, a knowing in your spirit. You may have spent years chasing outer wealth, grinding for results, trying to move the pieces of the world to secure abundance. But here's the eternal truth. The source of all supply is within you. Overflow is not achieved through effort alone. It is received through alignment. You must feel rich before the world can show you riches. You must embody abundance before it appears in form. This is not a game of pretending. It's a practice of becoming. When you assume the state of prosperity internally, the law of consciousness begins to shape your outer world to match it. That's how creation happens, from the inside out. We've been taught to worship the effect while ignoring the cause, but the cause of all things is consciousness. Your world is your consciousness, objectified. The lack you see out there is a reflection of resistance in here. The moment you shift the inner narrative, the outer form must follow. Feel it before you see it. Rest in it before it arrives. Know that it is already yours. These are not just beautiful words. These are divine instructions. And they always work because they are rooted in the principle that consciousness is the only reality. Ask yourself this: what would it feel like to be wealthy now? To be full, supported, and overflowing? Not someday, not eventually, now. When you dwell in that state, when you live from that end, the world becomes a mirror of that conviction. This is not about visualizing for 5 minutes and then worrying for the rest of the day. This is about entering a state and remaining faithful to it. When your imagination becomes more real to you than your senses, when you feel the wealth within you with conviction, the world begins to yield to that inner truth. You must learn to ignore appearances. The current state of your bank account is not a prophecy. It's just an old report card from previous assumptions. Don't build your identity around it. Your inner world is under construction. And that means the outer world is about to change. When your mind is rich with certainty, when you no longer question, doubt, or chase, the supply must come, because you have already received it in the only place that matters, your consciousness. And what happens next? People show up, opportunities flow, debt dissolves, income expands. But it's not the world that made you feel abundant. It's your abundance that reshaped the world. You see, the universe doesn't give based on need. It responds to embodiment. It gives to the version of you that already has. Because in truth, everything already exists. All versions of you are real. But the one you consistently identify with is the one life reflects back to you. So identify with overflow. Claim it inwardly and protect that claim. Don't speak lack. Don't argue for limitations. Don't rehearse struggle. Instead, rehearse abundance. Speak from it. Move as it. Feel it now. You are not becoming abundant, you are abundance. And when you return to that awareness, everything begins to change. Gently, then rapidly. Your consciousness is the treasury. Your imagination is the vault. And the riches of the world are drawn from that invisible place where your inner state leads. So today, shift your focus. Stop checking the bank and start checking your belief. Stop looking for signs and start living as the sign. Feel the overflow now. Claim it now. Live from it now, because once your consciousness is full, the bank has no choice but to catch up. You may not see it yet. There may be no outer sign, no confirmation, no visible proof. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. In fact, the most powerful transformations always begin invisibly, quietly, subtly, and then suddenly everything changes. Your assumption, the state you've accepted as true, has already taken root. You may not feel the full bloom yet, but the seed is planted. And once the seed is planted in consciousness, manifestation is inevitable. Outer events is not the starting point, it is the echo. It is the reflection. It is the result. The moment you shifted inwardly, the moment you said, "It is done," a new timeline began unfolding beneath the surface. The vibration of your world began to change. New outcomes were set into motion, people began moving, events began shifting, and circumstances began rearranging, all in response to your new state. You don't need to see it yet to trust it. You don't need outer validation to prove your inner knowing. In fact, the requirement of proof is often what delays the proof. Why? Because asking where is it is a state of not having. And the law brings you what you are, not what you wish for. Your job is not to force the evidence. Your job is to remain loyal to the assumption. Feel it real. Walk in the feeling. Let your inner world be the truth you live by, even when the outer world says otherwise. That's faith. That's power. That's creation. All things move from within to without. The outer is never first. It is always second. What you see, hear, and touch today is yesterday's belief made visible. And what you assume today will soon become tomorrow's reality. This is why persistence is the master key. Not effort, not intensity, but persistence, remaining faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, no matter what appears around you. You don't plant a seed and then dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the process. You water it with faith. You nourish it with feeling. You wait with calm expectancy. And in time, without strain or stress, it breaks through the soil and becomes visible. The same is true for your overflow. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it isn't growing. In fact, the more invisible it seems, the more powerful it often is. Roots grow deep before they rise up. And so it is with your manifestation. There is divine timing at work, but divine timing is not about waiting. It's about alignment. The moment your inner and outer world agree, the manifestation appears. And the delay you perceive is not a punishment, it is grace. It is preparation. It is the universe clearing space so that what is yours can land fully and last forever. So don't measure your progress by the outer. Measure it by your feeling. Are you peaceful? Are you certain? Are you walking in faith? If so, you've already succeeded. The evidence is coming. It must come. The law is exact. Your world has no choice but to conform to your inner shift. It may take a day, a week, a month. That is not your concern. Time is not the test. Persistence is. So smile even when there's no proof. Rejoice even when there's no sign. Speak as one who already possesses. Move as one who already is. Let your mood be anchored in your assumption, not your circumstances. And then effortlessly the outer will catch up. One day soon you look around and realize it's here. The thing you once imagined, the reality you once felt in silence, now surrounds you. It didn't come because you chased it. It came because you became it. So relax, rest in your knowing, be still and assured, because the inner shift has already happened. And the evidence must follow, always. There comes a sacred moment on the journey when everything changes, not because the world changed, but because you did. You stop pleading, you stop chasing. You stop living in the vibration of lack and step into the frequency of fulfillment. That moment, the moment you stopped wishing and started knowing, is the moment you stepped into overflow. Living from the end means you've assumed the state of your desire as already fulfilled. You are no longer reaching for it. You've become it. This is the creative secret that reshapes reality. You see, the world doesn't respond to your effort, it responds to your state. And when your state is one of being rather than hoping, of inner certainty rather than outer anxiety, the law begins to move. Quietly, precisely, irresistibly. Living from the end is not pretending. It is not forcing. It is knowing. It is the inward conviction that you are already the person who has, already the one who is, already the one who lives in the answered prayer. You no longer say, I hope it happens. You say, it is done. You no longer feel the ache of waiting. You feel the joy of arrival. And in that simple yet radical shift, you enter the realm where overflow begins to unfold, not as a reward, but as a natural result. Not because you earned it, but because you became aligned with it. The old version of you operated from longing. It wanted, wished, and watched. But the new you walks in the end. It acts, thinks, and feels from completion. This is what it means to manifest effortlessly, not by struggle, but by assumption. You don't have to manipulate the world. You don't need to hustle to get results. When you occupy the state of the end, the world reconfigures to match it. The phone call comes, the opportunity appears, the money flows, not as magic, but as law, spiritual law, eternal and unfailing. The reason it's unfolding now is because you're no longer waiting. You've stopped reacting to appearances and started responding to your inner vision. You've detached from the how and become anchored in the it's already done. That is true power. Living from the end is peace, it's stillness, it's confidence without arrogance. It's resting in the knowing that what is yours is already yours in consciousness, and therefore must become yours in form. This is why so many miss their blessing. They continue living from the state of desire rather than the state of fulfillment. They keep projecting the thing into the future instead of embodying it now. But you have crossed over. You understand now that your job is not to make it happen, but to accept that it has already happened. And from that acceptance, all things follow. It's no longer about getting, it's about being. Being the one who already has the love, already enjoys the wealth, already walks in purpose, already lives in peace. And from that being, you naturally do the right things. You naturally move in the right timing. You speak with clarity, you act with conviction. Why? Because you're no longer trying to get to the end, you are the end. The bridge of incidents unfolds, but you don't panic. You walk it with grace because you know it's already done. The evidence may arrive in pieces, but your faith holds the whole picture. And so I say to you, keep living in the end, remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. Don't let outer appearances shake your inner knowing. Let the world say what it wants. Let the senses scream lack. You remain in your truth. It is done. It is unfolding. I am already there. There is a sacred moment in every manifestation journey when desire transforms into knowing. When you let go, not because you've given up, but because you've finally received it in consciousness. This moment is powerful, silent, deep. It's not loud with affirmations or frantic visualizations. It's quiet, serene, still. It is a state of having, not seeking, of being, not needing. And that stillness is what opens the floodgates of overflow. True overflow begins when you no longer grip tightly to the thing you want. When you stop chasing, you stop pushing, and you stop measuring the timing. Let me replay that pezzina. Because in your spirit, it has already been done. The moment you let go of when and how, the energy clears, the resistance drops, and what you once longed for begins moving toward you effortlessly. Letting go is not abandoning the desire, it is embodying the truth that it's already yours. You've moved from pursuit to possession. You no longer beg the universe for a sign, you recognize that you are the sign. The shift has already occurred within, and now your outer world must respond. You let go of the need to make it happen. You rest in the confidence that it's already happening. This is the vibration of surrender. Not the surrender of weakness, but of power. A power rooted in trust, not tension. A faith that doesn't wobble because the senses say otherwise. Most people confuse letting go with detachment from the desire. But true letting go means detachment from lack. You are no longer attached to the fear that it won't come. You are no longer living in the identity of one who is waiting. You have taken your seat in the end result, and now life is moving to meet you. And as you let go, the very thing you once pursued starts to pursue you. It comes in unexpected ways. It shows up through divine coincidences, through whispers in your intuition, through opportunities you didn't chase, but that found you because you finally stopped running after them. You've become the magnet. Your stillness is now a signal. Your calm is now a command. And the universe responds, not to struggle, but to certainty. Overflow isn't attracted to desperation. It comes where peace lives. When your inner waters are still, your outer world begins to flow. You are no longer reacting to delay. You are no longer triggered by appearances. You've let go of timelines. You've dropped the anxiety. You've stopped performing for the manifestation. And because of that, everything is now speeding up. What was once blocked by resistance is now rushing in through your release. Letting go is the final proof of faith. It says, I no longer need to monitor it. I no longer need to doubt. I no longer need to chase it, because I am it. You've crossed into the state of having. That's why the money starts coming. That's why the relationship begins aligning. That's why the doors you knocked on before are now opening without a knock. Because your detachment has declared, I trust. And in the language of the universe, trust is the highest command. Let this be your reminder. You are not manifesting by force. You are manifesting by alignment. And alignment always brings ease, clarity, and movement. You've let go. You've surrendered the doubt. You've released the fear. And now, like a river released from a dam, your overflow is rushing in, not because you push harder, but because you stopped pushing at all. So remain in the state of ease. Continue to dwell in the end. Smile not because it's coming, but because you know it can't not come. This is the paradox of power. When you no longer need it, you finally allow it. You've let go. That's why it's flowing. You've released control. That's why it's accelerating. You've surrendered. And now the promise is rushing in to greet you. Stay still. Stay sure. The overflow is already yours. You didn't find this message. It found you. And it found you because something within you has shifted. A deep, powerful assumption has taken root. And now the world must conform to your inner truth. You are no longer the seeker, you are the source. You are no longer chasing, you are attracting. You've remembered who you truly are. The operant power, the cause behind every effect, the creator behind every scene. You've assumed the end, and that assumption has opened doors that no one can shut. You've felt the richness in consciousness, and now the evidence must follow. You've let go. And that is why your overflow is rushing in. So walk forward, not in doubt, but in delight. Speak, not to convince, but to confirm. Feel, not from lack, but from fullness. You are already what you once desired to be. And that is the secret. This is not the beginning of your overflow. It's the recognition of what has already begun. Stay faithful to your inner world. Persist in the feeling of fulfillment. And know with unwavering confidence that everything you've assumed is already making its way into form. Thank you for allowing this message to speak to the truth that already lives in you. Thank you for showing up with an open heart and a willing spirit. And remember, your overflow is not coming, it's here. It is done with gratitude and knowing. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed. Stay in overflow.